Hello. So there are a couple of scenarios here, right? Or one scenario and a couple of different outcomes to it, or ways of going about it. If Conor McGregor becomes president of Ireland, what can he do? Effectively, the position itself is somewhat neutered, right? And it's not the same as the president in America who can sign executive orders and wield executive power over the government. It's not the same in Ireland, right? It's what people call the ceremonial position, right? That the president will take advice from government and will ratify or dissolve governments, right? But what's fascinating about this, and if we remember our history correctly, right? In 1922, Michael Collins drafted his constitution, the Constitution of the Free State, right? And in that he said, very American-like, very freedom-oriented, we'd say, right? Very Irish. In it, he stated that individual rights were inviolable, right? They were not to be tampered with at all. There was no caveat to that, right? In 1937, Eamon de Valera just created a new constitution, technically illegal because it went against the treaty that Collins had made with England. So technically illegal. What did England do? Nothing. Why? Because this new constitution was never put up for a vote, right? It was never had the backing of the people. It never had the permission of the people. It was just scrap the old one, we'll make a new one. And what was the difference with the new one? Now, individual rights, they were allowed so long as they were in line with the morality of the nation, right? The common good is what the modern phrasing of it, right? And what morality were they talking about at the time? De Valera tells us the Catholic morality, Rome's rule, Roman morality, or the morality that Rome would like to have adopted and ingrained into the Irish people. So there you see, right, the two double-headed eagle, right? You see England not making any moves, even though you had a Taoiseach or president of Ireland who was just creating a new constitution. They didn't bat an eyelid. It was technically illegal for him to do so, given the terms of the treaty, right? Whatever we think of it, it was technically illegal. So he just scrapped Michael Collins' one, which would have rendered Ireland a much different place. Eamon de Valera granted special permission or the special relationship, a special place for Catholicism in Ireland, which allowed for the censorship of Irish people based on papal authority or papal wishes, right? Michael Collins did not do so. He said that man's conscience should be free to roam any dimension that it wants, right? And therefore no religion would be given primary place in Ireland because people can make up their own minds, right? He was a realist, he was a pragmatist, and he was a bit of a futurist, right? He wasn't staunchly in one camp. He was for whatever was best for Irish people. That's why he had to be killed, right? So my point on this is, for the last, 70, 90 years, we have been living under, technically, a constitution that was derived fraudulently. It was technically illegal, and it also superseded a far more robust and protective and expansive constitution penned by Michael Collins and others, right? That would have allowed for, or would have negated the very destruction of human rights we've been seeing in Ireland over the last few years, right? Because they have the caveat. Yeah, you're free to travel, you're free to engage with whoever you want, you're free to speak, you're free to express yourself, provided we give you permission to do so, and provided it's within a framework that we condone, right? Michael Collins did not offer that caveat. He made the statement not as if he was granting permission, but he was making the axiomatic statement that people can think, speak, and engage with whoever they want, free of any violation from any man, or from any court, or from any state, or from any government. That was what he put in. Eamon de Valera just scrapped that. According to the 22 Constitution, there was a loose framework of about 8 years up to 1930, where things could be changed and molded in it depending on the needs of the time, right? A new state, new government, we'll see what works. People aren't used to this. We'll see how it needs to be shaped and doctored and remedied in whatever way, right? Or altered over the next 8 years. After that, no more changes, right? Save for referendums. Eamon de Valera sidestepped that by just scrapping the whole lot of it and creating his own constitution, which has led us into the very difficulties we're in now, because we're still bound by this crap document. It's fundamentally flawed because in it allows for others to dictate what the common good is or what social morality is, and in doing so, it allows them to strip you of your permitted human rights, because they're permitted now, right? If there's a caveat to what you can say and who you can hang around with, who you can spend time with, and what you can think, then that's no freedom at all, right? That's just permission. So you're a slave now. We've been living underneath this constitution of slavery since 1937. And my point on all of that is, if Conor McGregor, or whoever, right? If you get someone in here bold enough, ambitious enough, imaginative enough to recognise the dire straits that Ireland is in, and the articles that bind, the legal terminology, the legal articles and stuff that restrict any movement outside of a particular state or framework, if you get someone bold enough, they could just do what De Valera did, right? The only reason De Valera's constitution got up off the ground is because no one said anything. People backed it, right? And they backed it by silence. Irish people included, but also the Dáil at the time, right? So there's nothing stopping legally. And historically, the precedent has been set. There is nothing stopping a Conor McGregor from coming in, penning a new constitution, and just going, here you go. Or challenging the 1937 one and falling back to its predecessor, the 1922 constitution, where there was no infringement permitted on liberties. We'll see how this goes. But these are potentials. These are potentials. And if you have, take it on face, we just judge the surface on face value, right? Conor McGregor meeting the Secretary of Defense in America, meeting Elon Musk, who owns X, owns Twitter. He said it when he bought it. I bought a crime scene. They have their headquarters in Ireland. Who knows what dirt Elon Musk has in regards to Irish politicians and the whole state apparatus in Ireland from Twitter alone, right? And the USAID, we don't know what dirt is really lurking in those filing cabinets. But also, Donald Trump just has all of, I would imagine, international security, international intelligence agencies. He has all that information. What dirt is there on the Irish politicians? So if you get a Conor McGregor in, whoever again, right?
Yes, hello. Welcome to carsireland.ie. We are helping people buy cars.
Who wants to be bold enough and just to search, you know what? What's been going on here, it needs to be scrapped. I'm just going pen in a new constitution. One that will not allow any sidestepping of personal liberties. There will be no excuses. There will be no emergency powers that allow people to do horrendous things to people because they want to. Right? That wouldn't be allowed. And that can happen. Right? That can happen. And in the meantime, between now and the potential Conor McGregor being elected as president, there is nothing stopping that from becoming a reality, provided enough Irish people get on board with that and back it, right? And before anyone throws it out or before there's any knocks on my door, this is not a talk of subverting any sort of state, right? I am merely suggesting and offering historical facts that are accurate. The constitution that De Valera drafted and that we live by and abide by, and the courts and all that stuff swear an oath that was technically illegal. So any idea of floating, going back to or reviving a 1922 constitution, that's open. That's perfectly legal. There's no criminal intent or anything in saying these things. Perfectly valid, right? Precedent has also been set for people just throwing out new constitutions. These are potentials, and we would do well to wrestle with these they might never happen, right? But we would do well to wrestle with these and have our own individual opinion formed around these. Not get ahead of this before anyone else starts talking about it, or before the media puts a spin on any of these things. If they do crop up as more than likely things that are going to happen, right? Get ahead of this beforehand. Because then you can think freely on it and you can assess it yourself and you can form your own opinion on it. And then you're a free man. Because when information comes out about it, any of this sort of stuff, if it does, or there's any spin attached to it, you already have your decision made, so you're unaffected by any spin.
Bitcoin has become mainstream. Or so we've heard.